Hello and welcome to another video. So we've had the nerfs happen, so my content's going to be a little shuffled around. I've got this video that I'm doing now for you guys, and I've got the next video which is a Infiltrator sword which wasn't hit by the nerf, so that will be fine, so you guys can enjoy that video. But for this one I've restructured the mid shadow deck to make it a little more aggressive, still give it that nice little bit of mid shadow flair. And because Demon Lord, even though it wasn't hit super hard, it still works as a perfect finisher card. So, put in 3 goblins, added that full-on aggressive curve in, along with the Prince of Catacombs and the Authoress, just dropping out some of the last word effects. I found they aren't very useful when you're running this kind of deck now, due to the fact that Demon Lord isn't going to boost them anywhere near as easily or practically, and you're looking to flood the board more often than you are to actually fill the board with Demon Lords, so you want your board to be pre-built, which you'll see in a few matches here. But Demon Lord's change was pretty straightforward. They just created it as a Necromancy 8, summoned 2 zombies, and then everything else basically stayed the same. So instead of getting as many zombies as you can for a 3 Necromancy each, it's just a solid 8 for 2. And even if you don't have that 8 Necromancy, you will still be able to activate the +2 and rush on everything else on board. So still a pretty crazy card, and gonna still be really strong. They hit it hard enough, I think, that it's gonna slow Shadow down a little bit, but it's not quite enough that it's gonna knock it right out of tier 1, at least in my personal view. So we'll get right into some games. So the first match to showcase is Dragon. Grandmaster Dragon at that. It's going to be a fair bit more popular, especially now that Shadow and Blood and stuff have been knocked down a peg. Dragon will probably slide its way right into those TMs there and take that kind of spot. After all, Dragon's ramp is still as overpowered as ever and will probably never be sorted. It is the second most used deck according to the statistics so far, Dragon. So I'm surprised they didn't get a nerf. I suppose it's just because their win rate wasn't super high, even though they were the second most used deck. So you'll definitely be seeing a lot of Dragon on ladder, probably a lot of Haven as well, due to the fact that that does a nice counter to things like Rune, which is still super strong. Rune wasn't severely hit. Honestly, neutral Rune can pretty much stay the same without taking any major losses. Especially now that Shadow's been slowed down, Rune has even more ground to actually gain. So interesting changes, and I'll probably talk about more of them in a video very soon if it hasn't already gone up compared to when this video goes up. So it's just a matter of ordering my videos due to some stuff going on with me, so hopefully you guys can bear with me this week and we can get through this and be all good. So as you can see, this deck's great at flooding, turn 4 full board, all low cost. They don't quite have enough to activate what they want to clear, so I'm pretty set in that regard. If I hadn't had Catacomb, it would have been perfect. So your normal players will be, Cerberus boosting your board, getting all your early 1-2 drop cards, playing them out, flooding, catacombing the board, and then further Demon Lord after that. It's not too much else to say for that front. You're basically playing a more aggro shadow build over a mid shadow build, but it's hard to say at this stage where this deck will go and how the refinement will end up. This is just my initial nerf deck that I'll probably be running. It's been fairly successful so far, so I'm not going to pass that up. I'll also have a Control Blood variant which has been fixed. You're basically only swapping a couple cards out for most of the decks. The changes weren't so big that they really impacted a lot of stuff. I mean, Blood did get hit the hardest, which kind of sucks, but Shadow so far, pretty solid still. Nothing too substantial, nowhere near the hits that Catacomb and Shadow Reaper took last time. So Demon Lord still has a place in pretty much every Shadow deck, excluding maybe Nep, because you don't really run a Nep anyway. And we might see more Nep, that's kind of a positive. So as you can see, it's Dragon here, always ramping a pain. We do get to keep our board though, which is exactly what we want, so when these Demon Lords get dropped, we're able to deal massive amounts of damage. I mean, this here is like 12 damage without an evolve. With an evolve, we take it to 14 for the turn. I found Immortal Thane I'm using a lot more often though, now that Demon Lord has been hit pretty hard. I mean, well, reasonably hard. You do want to play the Immortal Thane, proc it as much as possible, ward up, get that last bit of damage in after you've played everything else out. So Grim Cyclone, not a real threat. Nothing concerning. So Soul Conversion and Mortal Thane you're about to see is a great combination of cards. Especially when you have Mimi and Coco and stuff in hand. They work really nicely together. Super easy. Soul Conversion, get 2 damage, throw out the 0 cost king, set up for a lethal in the next turn. I mean, even a Bahamut here would have been close, I guess, because the Mimi would have only dealt 2, so I would still be searching for 1. But that 1 damage isn't super hard to come across. So this deck is still very consistent, at least in this initial starting few days. I'm not sure, like I said, how it's going to be refined down, but over time I'll be covering all that, so you guys can look forward to those videos as we go on for the next at least couple weeks probably. And of course, something to be aware of, Sword is going to be running rampant because Sword is always a good consistent card when a meta is in its infancy, so since we've had these changes, the meta is pretty still fresh, so Sword is going to be running wild trying to pick up those free wins. So you do want to mulligan stuff like that out. Like I said, aim for those Bone Chimeras, the early 1-drops, anything that can really build your board in the early game. Unfortunately not the best hand. Definitely had better ones. And the Dragon deck last was a little weird. I mean, they seem to have gone for a discard finisher, which I thought was a little odd. But the whole initial plays were pretty standard ramp Dragon for the most part. So it still gives an alright representation of where you'll be at against most Dragon decks. And this is the Infiltrator Sword. I have got this deck list coming very, very soon. I believe tomorrow, like I said, this will be the pre-nerf video for the Sword list, but it's all the same just because of how Sword functions. This deck does okay against it because you do have the Orthoros, which deals with a lot of these ambushes nicely, and you can usually be a little more aggressive than Sword can. Like I said, a lot of these decks are pretty fresh, so I can't give too deeper insight into how they're going to continue to perform. Obviously all the decks will be evolving and changing in the next week until we find a stable meta again, and then we'll be due for a new expansion in September. So most of you guys can look forward to that. Which will be pretty awesome, honestly. So again, filling the board, very, very important. Being able to gain draw as well, so you can fill the board even again and again and again, is also great. I mean, we've got Catacomb here, we've also got Bone Chimera, so the odds of them clearing the entire board is basically 0 at this point, and we should easily be able to flood, hitting them in the face repeatedly until they concede. Albert, not really a problem. I mean, 3 health that we're on is a problem, it's a huge risk. Luckily though, we do have Death Breath in our hand, which sets us up for a nice little defensive play. Again, getting as much as you can damage-wise is very important. I mean, that 5 damage there could be the difference between winning or losing in a lot of cases. And luckily, due to them only having that 2/2, they can't actually kill me this turn. If they had 1 more stat, they would have had lethal. Fortunately for me, they didn't have it. And a second Death Breath is always what you want. A nice way to defend your board. And all I need is Hector or any other decent damage card. Another turn of them not being able to clear board. Now a very easy setup for me. Honestly, I could have went a different way, but the Cerberus was just fine for the play I was going to make. I could have easily went into the Orthoros and just hoped for a good hit, but I felt like this was a much more reliable play, giving me the damage, letting me keep my ward up, and setting up a potential lethal for the next turn, especially with Immortal Thane in our hand. Plus, they're still 1 turn off Albert, so they're not going to be killing me initially. Not unless they can find a Storm Follower in their hand for 1 damage. And with that, they don't quite have it. So close, yet so far as a Sword player. They were so very close. The second Cerberus closes out our game. Orthoros would have done the same job, but yeah, Cerb's a little more fashionable. And the final game is against Blood, so there's going to be a few different kinds of Bloods going around with the experimentation. I mean, BKB's hit was probably the biggest nerf of all the cards so far. I mean, bumping it up to 5 puts it in contesting with every other decent Blood card that fits that 5 slot, and Blood has quite a nice selection, especially now that Saber's in that bracket as well. So having to toss up between Saber and Big Knuckle Bodyguard is really a difficult choice. I personally would have rather had Big Knuckles stay at a 4 and have it be an evolve effect instead, but they didn't decide to go that route and instead pushed it up to a 5 bracket, which for me makes it pretty useless, honestly. I definitely wouldn't be playing Big Knuckle Bodyguard at 5. Not in most traditional Blood lists anyway. So, Blood is highly aggressive normally, so focusing on building your board up is very important. The odds of you coming up against a Control Blood is reasonably low, although Control Blood does do pretty well, surprisingly, compared to what it really used to do back in the older expansions. Unfortunately, they get some okay trades, being able just to hit me where it hurts, killing off my board. But plenty of potential, you know, Goblin Leaders dealing more damage again. I am surprised though. I mean, using Goblin Leader these days, is that really what you want to go for as a Blood player? It's definitely a different deck, but like I said, no deck is going to be solid right now. People are going to be experimenting, they're going to be looking for the next meta decks. People will still be running things like Rune and Haven just because they're consistent. Sword as well to pick off some of these more, you know, unrefined decks, which is what Sword's pretty good at. Sword is pretty much the most balanced class in all of Shadowverse, hence why it's had like 0 nerfs, surprisingly. So another Goblin Leader, great fun. Luckily we do have Lyriel, which fits nicely with these plays. We should be able to use Lyriel for a 2-for-1 with its evolve effect, so killing off the 1-1 and the 4-4, while just leaving up the 1-2 on their board. Then it's just a matter of swarming the board next turn with Zombie Party and using Demon Lord to swing. Getting as much damage as we can for as little cost. Not so fortunate though, that 5-5 making life a little bit more difficult for them. That's Zombie Party. Still a great card, especially the animated zombies, they look awesome. Phantom Cat, a little bit more damage. I mean, with a bit of luck, we don't take too much, but they get the 4-4, which is a little sucky. Although, plenty of options now. The Demon Lord coming in clutch. Gets us at least one of these trades here, along with just being able to hit face for 8. Putting them on 9 and leaving us with both Catacomb and Immortal Thane for a pretty nice setup overall. I mean, they do have the Grim, double Grim, making things tricky. I don't like having to deal with wards, so I'm not sure what this Blood was definitely going for. It had to have been some form of neutral variant, but a very shoddy one at that, in my opinion. Especially now, now that BKB and stuff's been changed, you really don't want to be running neutral Blood like this. There are much better neutral classes like Rune and Sword, so why bother putting it into a Blood deck that just can't take as good of an advantage of the class mechanics. So again, you'll see that the great combos with these Immortal Thanes are so good. Being able to get so much damage out. So we're able to deal plenty of damage. And with the second Immortal Thane in our hand, and the Orthoros and Prince, we're not too worried about losing, so they mustn't have had anything left. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you'll find the deck list in the description below. You can give it a whirl, you can refine it, you can tell me what you think and how you would run it, but this is just my variation for the current stages of the meta. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. See ya.